Hey, good morning, mortgage and real estate world. It's Todd Duncan. It is Monday morning, and every Monday at 9 o'clock, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 9 o'clock, we're online and we're just talking. We're talking and having a cup of coffee together and trying to figure out exactly how to continue our journey in life and our struggles in life to be the best version of us that we could be. I want to thank you for joining this morning. An hour ago, I had really no idea what I wanted to say this morning, and yet 3 hours ago in my private time, I was really impacted by a memory about 21 years ago that I want to share with you as we kind of go through our time here together this morning. I am so wanting to have this come out right and to have it come off in the way that I visualize it'll come off. And I'm not sure if during the next 15 minutes or so, I might journey in a direction that you may or may not support. I don't think that'll be true, but I'm going to ask you at the front end of our time together to forgive me if anything that I say doesn't fit you the right way or doesn't impact you the way that I hope everybody who's watching this will be impacted. So I spent some time writing and I'm going to kind of go back and forth between what I wrote in the last hour and looking at you in the camera and see if we can get through this. And so I started off by saying, like most of you, I awakened this morning in shock with all the events of the last week. I feel a real sense of sadness to see what's happening in our cities and our country. It's been a hard journey anyway with the COVID pandemic, and to see what's happened in the last 7 days in almost every major city in America at some level, to me is sad. And I'm sad for our country. I'm sad for our states. I'm sad for our cities. I'm sad for the people in our cities, and it hurts. And I think that to say otherwise would be blasphemous. And so, I don't condone for a minute what happened a week ago to George Floyd. And this is not as much about him as it is about a greater picture, I believe. I wasn't there, you weren't there. I don't know all the circumstances. I do know for me watching that video, it felt wrong. It felt wrong again. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for loss. I'm sorry for his family. I'm sorry for any family that loses a loved one seemingly in a mysterious and hurtful and crazy way, like this whole thing went down. And, at the same time, none of us know the facts. And I think we always have to wait for facts. I mean, we can make decisions on what we saw happen on video. And yet, we're sitting here today looking at the first autopsy report that shows no signs of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation that caused him to die. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I know today his family will release an autopsy. And, we have to trust that, and we have to look at that, and we have to watch this thing kind of play out. And all I know is a family lost somebody they loved, and the nation is doing things in response to that, which are hurting our country. And so I want to see if I can unpack it, a little bit. I'm sad for our country. I'm sad for the people of this country. I'm particularly sad when good and evil clash, and good and evil have been around since the inception of time and creation. I'm sad when I see good people who want to exercise their civil rights and peacefully protest morph into what we've seen when bad people who have different motives use that right, to cause mayhem and mass destruction and even more death. I was talking with my producer this morning, and he described the good people defending their stores. And there's a coffee shop that he goes to, and literally the owners of that coffee shop have been open during the pandemic. And in the most recent riot trends, they boarded up their windows but stayed open and stayed in their store to protect it. And for me, that is just crazy. And you know, I'm sure you've probably seen the video of the Target store where everybody was walking out with shopping carts full of stuff and vandalizing and looting that store. And you know, so you have the good people and you have the bad people. I mean, it gets down to that. And I have a fundamental belief, and I believe that most people are good people. I think that most people have a solid moral compass. I think most people want to do the right thing. I also believe that when truth and evil became polar opposites in the first moments of creation, I believe that the smaller population end up with a different compass, and they do the wrong thing. And when good people, I think, are in the same vicinity as bad people, like these cities that we're watching on TV, I think it makes everyone look bad, and that's not really truth. Last year, I had the opportunity to speak to about 4,000 real estate agents in Brisbane, Australia, on the Gold Coast. And I did some research before that speech, and one of the things I found was that only 7% of the Australian population trusts real estate agents. So if you're an agent in Australia, you can be trustworthy or not, okay? But if you are, and 93% of the country doesn't think your profession is trustworthy, then you are distrusted by association. I think every society and every business genre, you know, I think it has good people and it has bad people. And in the end, you know, I would like to think that good prevails. I'd like to think that truth prevails. I'd like to think that, as my friend John says, life will win, and the goodness of life and the richness of life and the nectar of life will triumph. I like that word, triumph. And so, you know, I'm thinking about all this morning, and I was in my early morning kind of ritual this morning. I do a lot of praying and kind of meditating. I was praying for our country this morning, and it was a deep moment for me as I searched kind of why is this happening, right? And we can look back through time for as far back as it's chronicled, and there's good and bad. There's truth and evil. And in the midst of that time this morning, I remembered listening to Tony Evans. Tony Evans is a best-selling author. He's a pastor. He's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful human being, and you may want to check him out after this coffee with Todd. But I remember listening to him at a Promise Keepers event, and there was, I don't know, 50,000 guys in this stadium, and I was with a bunch of my mortgage friends in Dallas, Texas. And I remember Tony from stage, and I went back and I found this online. I remember him from stage in the most passionate, kind of intense, kind of hopeful voice that he could muster, and he's got a voice. I got to tell you that. These are the words he said, and so I wanted to share them this morning because I think it has deep meaning for you and for me as we try to make sense of everything that's going on. And here's exactly what he said. He said, and I'm going to use the idea of because he did. He was talking about leadership, and he was talking about men and being a dialed in, you know, husband and dad, but it could easily be the other gender. It could be the woman. It could be the partners. It's not really about that, but I'm going to use man because he used that. And I'd like us to think of man as human, right? Human beings. So here's what he said. He said, if the man is messed up and he's in a relationship, then the relationship is messed up. And if a messed up man in a messed up relationship happens to be a marriage, then the marriage is messed up. And if a messed up man is in a messed up relationship, that is a messed up marriage, and that marriage happens to have children, then the family is messed up. And if a messed up man in a messed up marriage that happens to be a family, and the family is messed up, and that family lives in a community, then that community is messed up. And if a messed up man is in a messed up marriage, that's in a messed up family, in a messed up community, and that community is in a city, then the city is messed up. And if a messed up man is in a messed up marriage, that's in a messed up family, in a messed up community, in a messed up city, and that city is in a state, then the state is messed up. And if a messed up man is in a messed up marriage, that is in a messed up family, in a messed up community, in a messed up city, in a messed up state, and that state is in a country, then the country is messed up. And if a messed up man is in a messed up marriage, that's in a messed up family, in a messed up community, in a messed up city, in a messed up state, in a messed up country, and that country is in the world, then you have a messed up world. And so he transitions and he simply says, so if we don't want a messed up world, it starts with not having messed up countries, which comes from not having messed up states, which results from not having messed up cities, which means there are no messed up communities, which requires families that aren't messed up, which only happens if a marriage isn't messed up. And the best way to make sure of that is not to have a messed up man. And I think about that, and I think about everything that we're going through as a country today. And, it seems daunting. It seems like it's almost overwhelming. It seems like it's a big mountain to climb, right? But I think at the end of the day, it starts with me. It starts with you. I mean, every single day, it's you and it's me committing to be our best, right? To be our best version of us. And if we focus every day on being our best, then everybody that we're connected to and that they're connected to and that they're connected to and that they're connected to will rise above. And I believe that they will claim the opportunity to be their best. And I think that when we focus on being our best, we have a natural proclivity to heal. We have a deep desire to unite. I think that when you're in your best version of you, when I'm in my best version of me, there's positivity and there's abundance in our thinking. And if we're not our best, there can be negativity and scarcity in our thinking. And I think that if we become our best, I think that we have victory over evil. And I think that at the end of the day, the good guys and the good gals win, even though you have this small faction of disruption that is based on evil and greed and all that goes along with that. And so I'm not taking a political side. I'm not taking a spiritual side. I'm watching the same stuff you're watching, and I'm as blown away as you probably are blown away on just how crazy this has become. And in the end, the times that we're in, for certain, I think are going to test your grit. I think they're going to test your resolve. I think they're testing my resolve. They're testing my grit. Your truth will be tested. Your faith will be tested. I believe that how we handle what's happening right now in our country has everything to do with how we rise above. And I want that. I want us to be better because of the experiences that we're going through. I want every loan officer to be better because of the experience he goes through or she goes through. I want every realtor to be better because of the experience he goes through or she goes through. I want our families. I want our cities. I want our communities. I want our country. I want our country to be the great country it is, has been, will be. But again, we're in that season right now where there's a lot of strife. And so, stay connected to your inner truth, stay connected to your hope, stay connected to your faith. We will get through this. We can look back through the last 100 years and we can see these things repeatedly happening. And I'm not taking any side whatsoever as to, anything. There's no judgment in this Coffee with Todd. I'm not condoning, but I'm not blessing any action or whatnot. I'm just saying at the end of the day, truth is always going to battle evil. And from my vantage point, I want truth to win, and I want truth to have the victory. So I appreciate you guys jumping on this morning. And Angie Thomas was at RREC last year. Right. So guys, love you tons. And tomorrow we're going to have a coaching a coach-a-thon. We're going to have 3 or 4 of our high trust coaches on, and come tomorrow prepared to share any ideas or ask any questions that you would like. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay. Thanks.